Please give me a big, warm welcome to Dan Gingiss.
When I applied to graduate school, one of the application questions was to name 3 adjectives that I would use to describe myself. Now, I knew I couldn't use the same adjectives that everyone was going to use. Smart, hardworking, loyal. Nah, I had to do something different if I was going to stand out. So I decided to write a humor piece in which we get into Dan's head as he considers a bunch of adjectives and then discards them before ending on the final 3. Now, one of the adjectives that I considered and then discarded was strikingly handsome. I told you it was a humor piece. Fast forward to the first day of school. The head of admissions does a speech where she talks about all the amazing accomplishments of the incoming class. I remember one of my classmates had already started and sold 4 multi-million-dollar companies. And another one was helping NASA build new spacesuits for astronauts. She works her way down the list, and eventually she comes to, and one of your classmates had the audacity to refer to himself as strikingly handsome. Uh-oh. I'm looking around at 1,000 classmates. She doesn't stop there. She says, maybe we should have him stand up. What do you all think? They're all cheering. I'm slinking down into my seat, trying to get inside the cushion. I have to make a last-minute decision. Is this woman actually going to call me out in front of all my new classmates? And I decided, yes, I think she is. So I did the first thing that came to mind. I leapt up out of my seat, I put my arms up, and I said, "It's me!" And there was dead silence before everyone erupted into applause. For the next 2 years, every time I introduced myself to somebody, there'd be that same moment of recognition. They'd be like, "You're the strikingly handsome guy." So it worked. Look, I didn't have the best grades, didn't have the top test scores, and I sure as heck didn't set out to become the strikingly handsome guy. But I knew that if I was going to get into this great school, that I was going to have to do something different from everybody else. And we can do that with our events. We don't want to do what everybody else does. We want to do something different and memorable. So today, I want to talk about the power of customer experience, or in your nomenclature, maybe attendee experience. And we're all going to become wise to this power. Now, WISE stands for witty, immersive, shareable, and extraordinary. And I'm going to share real-life examples with you about all of these. But I got to tell you something. Very few of them are going to be from the events industry. Because I know for the next 2 days, that's all you're going to be talking about is events. So I'm going to bring in some great examples from other industries that I hope will inspire you to think differently about your next event. All right, let's get started with witty. Witty is not about being hysterical. I don't want anybody to go home thinking they have to become a stand-up comedian. That's difficult, and in marketing that can be a little bit controversial. I define witty as being clever, using language to your advantage every time you communicate, and refusing to be boring. You see, there's boring parts of every industry, but they don't have to be. They've just been that way forever. I'm thinking about signing contracts and sending out invoices and all the legal mumbo-jumbo we have to go through. So if we think about every single communication point as an opportunity to create an experience, now suddenly the pieces start falling into place. I don't know if any of you have been to the traveling immersive Van Gogh exhibit that's going around the country. Now, even if you're not an art fan, this is actually a technology exhibit. It's really fun, and I highly recommend it. But my favorite part about it was actually the signs around the exhibit. You see, Van Gogh is known for his sunflower paintings and for a peculiar spelling of his last name. So I saw signs like this one, "Go this way," and this one, "No go," and my absolute favorite, "Gotta go?" Now, these signs could have said, "Go here, do not enter, here's the bathroom," but they didn't. They decided to be just a little bit more clever, a little bit more witty. And guess what? Everyone was taking pictures of these signs. I mean, why would you use this international symbol for the bathroom that everybody knows when you could do what a sushi restaurant in downtown Chicago, where I'm from, does, which is use this international symbol for the bathroom that everybody knows? It's not like people didn't understand it. And if you can get people smiling or even laughing on the way to the bathroom, then we are making progress in terms of being witty. Anybody here from the state of Nebraska? I always have to ask this before we make fun of Nebraskans. All right, there's nobody here, that's good. So I live in the great state of Illinois, and we get things like this in our mailbox, the Visit Nebraska State Travel Guide. I think I know what you're wondering. What in the world is that family doing rowing down a river in what looks like an oversized metal bathtub? If there was someone from Nebraska in the room, they would be proud of me to know that I actually know what this is. It's called tanking, and it's an actual activity. That got me a little bit intrigued, but when I saw at the top it said the Not At All What You Thought State Travel Guide of Nebraska. Now that got me thinking about what it was that I thought about when I thought about the state of Nebraska, which was nothing, because I've never thought about the state of Nebraska. So what gets me to open the Visit Nebraska Travel Guide? Well, you see the outline of the state at the bottom? Let me blow it up for you. It says Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone. Who wants to go to Nebraska now? I'm all in on Nebraska. Nebraska knows it's not California or Florida or Hawaii or Seattle, Washington. It's Nebraska, for crying out loud. It's not exactly at the top of everybody's travel list. But it knows that, and it leans into that with a little bit of self-deprecation and a little bit of wittiness that makes you fall in love with them. All right, let's move on to becoming immersive. Now, immersive is so perfect for the events industry because look around us. There's so many, there's lights, there's sounds, there's smells, there's things to touch. All of our senses are tickled at an event. And that's what immersive is about. It's about these experiences that we feel in our bones so we never forget them. And the best way to create an immersive experience is to either appeal to one of the five senses or to appeal to people's emotions. Let me give you some examples. If you are a Disney fan or a parent, or frankly, if you haven't been living in a cave for the last 10 years, you know that this is the cast of the movie Frozen. Now, when Frozen first came out, my now teenage daughter was 7 years old. I would say she fit perfectly into the target audience for this movie. And sure enough, she was obsessed with Frozen. Everything was Frozen. Her clothing, her birthday cakes. We go to Disney World, and the first two people we have to see are Anna and Elsa. After the movie became a hit, Disney brought it back to select theaters for a special second run. Now, this second run was dubbed a sing-along version. Let me set this up for you. Typically, we go to a movie theater, we're asked to sit down, they turn off the lights, we have to put our phones away, and everybody has to be quiet. Sing-along version, totally the opposite. Everybody's standing up, the lights are on, people got their phones out, and you are not just allowed, but encouraged to belt along the lyrics with the cast. So when my daughter finds out that there's a sing-along version of Frozen, she just has to go. And so it begins. Daddy, will you please take me to the sing-along version of Frozen? Daddy, please, 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 please. This is months before the movie comes out. And I say, yes, of course I will take you. The day finally arrives. We're driving to the movie theater, and she knows she's going, so she no longer has to ask me to take her. But her question suddenly changes. Now her question is, Daddy, will you sing along with me? And I say, honey, don't I get some dad points for taking you to the sing-along version of Frozen? Plus, I think it's going to be the kids that are singing, not so much the adults. That's my guess. So I give her the old parent standby answer, we'll see. We get to the theater. All the kids are running around, having a blast. It turns out, by the way, that every kid knows every word to every song of this movie. And of course, the kids are singing along. Do you know who's not singing along? The parents. But every song that comes on, my daughter looks up at me. Daddy, will you please sing along with me? I know you know all the words. This is true. But I say, look, honey, it's the kids that are singing. The parents really aren't. Just enjoy the movie. She keeps asking every song. And finally, I just had to do it. I said, honey, let it go. And then that song came on. And she looks up at me with those big brown eyes. And she says, Daddy, it's our song. You gotta sing along with me. Please, Daddy. Who says no to that? So I say, okay, fine. Let it go, let it go. I am one with the wind and sky. Let it go, let it go. You'll never see me cry. Here I stand and here I stay. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Now, do you know what happens when you create that kind of immersive experience for your daughter? This happens. And we can do this for our attendees. They don't have to kiss us. It's okay. But we want to get them right to the point where they kind of want to. And sure enough, if you ask my now 16-year-old daughter who just got her license what her favorite movies are, Frozen is still on the list. And about a month ago, she said, hey, Dad, Frozen 3 is coming out next year. You want to go? And I said, 100%. All right, show of hands, and people in the back if you can so I can see you. Raise your hands really high if you love waiting on hold. No one? Of course, on hold stinks. We're listening to terrible elevator music, or endless beeping, or everyone's favorite, your call is really important to us. But what if you got put on hold, and instead, you heard this? Cue the music.
Well, I've been sitting here all day. I've been sitting in this waiting room. And I've been waiting on my friends. Yes, I'm waiting on this conference call. All alone. And I'm on hold. Well, yes, I'm on hold. I hope it's not all day. Well, I wonder where they are. Yes, I wonder where my friends have gone.
People, I wanted to stay on hold. Not one person raised their hand when I asked if you love staying on hold. Guess what? I loved staying on hold. If we can take an experience that everybody thinks stinks and turn it 180 degrees around to something that people look forward to, unbelievable, right? Now, you may not put people on hold, that's fine. But somewhere in your process, probably multiple places, you make people wait. Nobody likes to wait. So how do we fill that time and make it interesting? Maybe they're waiting to register. They show up at the bulk time and there's a long line. How do we make that line fun and entertaining? If we look for places where people are waiting and we fill it with something interesting, we can be that much more memorable. All right, you've learned how to be witty and immersive. Let's talk about being shareable. Now, shareable does not happen by accident. And folks, it doesn't happen just because we ask people. Now, in events, I highly recommend you have a hashtag. That's a great idea, use it. But what people don't like is to be told to share stuff. You've seen this. Follow us on Instagram, and don't forget to tag us, and use our hashtag, and here's a selfie spot. One of my good friends says, if you have to tell someone it's a selfie spot, it probably isn't. Selfies, by definition, are spontaneous. We take them because we want to, not because someone tells us to. I was at an event recently, and this wall was there. You can see there's no branding. You don't know what event it is, because that's not the point. The point is, We got a really cool phrase, the word bold. It's light up. This was in the middle of a glow party, by the way, hence my outfit. And everybody wanted to take a picture in front of this super cool wall. And they didn't have to tell anybody. People just did it. So that's what Shareable's about. It's about finding that moment where people can't help themselves. They reach into their pocket or their purse, they pull this out because they just have to take a picture. And it doesn't matter whether they have 1 million followers on social media or they just tell their friends and family and coworkers because they're talking about your event when they're doing it. And that's exactly what we want. We want that word of mouth marketing. Sipsmith Gin is a UK-based spirits company. And they came to the United States a little bit before COVID, and they wanted to change the way that people sample new spirits. So they created a very immersive experience in a pop-up tent at festivals around the country. I got to attend one. Now, when you walk in, the first thing that you see is this bartender, and he's dressed to the nines. And he says, "Welcome to the Sipsmith Gin and Tonic Bar. What kind of tonic would you like?" Now, you heard the intro from Lisa. I used to be a bartender. I had no idea there were different kinds of tonics. So he educated me. Well, we have our Indian tonic and our Mediterranean tonic and our European tonic and our citrus tonic. And he explained all the flavor profiles to me. I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I picked my tonic. I fully expect him just to squeeze a lime in because any bartender knows this is the easiest drink in the bar to make. But no, he sends me to the second station, which is the Sipsmith Garnish Bar. Now, the Garnish Bar does have limes, but it also has lemons, cherries, dried strawberries. There were rose petals, peppercorns, herbs, spices, all of these things I would have never imagined in a gin and tonic. In fact, I did the math for you. If you take the number of tonics and the number of garnishes, multiply them all together, there are more than 1 billion combinations of gin and tonics that you can make. So you can probably tell this is an immersive experience because Dan, the customer here, is getting to make his own drink. This is cool. I'm involved in creating the experience. So what makes it shareable? Well, that was the third station. And at the third station, they handed me a little tiny card and the cutest little clothespin you ever did see. And they said, "We want you to name your drink." And they handed me a marker. All right, cool. So I started writing the name of my drink. In fact, I think I have a picture of it here. Ah, yes, it was the Northern Whisper Effervescent Spritz, also known as NWES. I watched everyone in this tent do exactly the same thing. They clipped the name of their drink to their cup. They put their cup down. They made sure the background was just perfect. They pulled out their phone, took a step back. Maybe they adjusted it a little bit. They took a picture of their drink, shared it on social media, finally, and only then picked up the drink and took a sip. Nobody told them to do that. This sign doesn't say, "Please share on Instagram, here's our handle, and here's our hashtag." But they created a moment that everybody knew what to do. And I call this moment self-personalization. This is where you allow your customer or your attendee to design the experience themselves and then to make it their own, to personalize it themselves. So it's not the experience that you designed for them, it's the experience they designed for themselves. And everyone wants to share that. All right. We've made it through witty, immersive, and shareable. It is time to be extraordinary. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Dan, this has got to be where it gets expensive, right? Extraordinary. It just sounds expensive. And yes, for one or two of you in the room, I highly recommend at your next event that you hire Beyoncé to do a private concert. Maybe a fireworks show afterwards would be really cool. But let's assume you don't have $50 million lying in the bank. We got to be extraordinary on a budget. The good news is that extraordinary simply means better than ordinary. And no one talks about ordinary. Let me tell you about the perfectly average event I went to last week. Said nobody ever. That's not what we share. So we need to be a little bit extra. Any fans of the Savannah Bananas in the room? I used to ask this question, not one person in the audience knew what I was talking about. For those that don't know, the Savannah Bananas are a minor league baseball team based in Savannah, Georgia. They're owned by a man named Jesse Cole, who you'll see in a moment, who is always dressed in a yellow tuxedo to match his brand. Now, when Jesse took over the team, there were 2 season ticket holders. The first thing that he did was go to a local Boy Scout troop and offer them free tickets because he just wanted to put butts in seats. The Boy Scouts politely declined. They said, "No, thank you. We think baseball is boring." So Jesse knew that he had his work cut out for him. Today, Savannah Bananas baseball games have been described as a circus in which a baseball game happens to break out. Every fan that attends is treated to more than 200 micro experiences from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they get to the car at the end. Most of these experiences have nothing to do with baseball. In fact, my very favorite of these micro experiences is this one. Let's roll the video.
What do you think about the banana nanas? Tell me about them.
I love the banana nanas. As a matter of fact, I want to be a banana nana.
Whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. So most teams have these young dance teams that can do all these backflips, and we said, no, let's go the opposite. Let's get these unbelievable senior citizens who can do some great hip hop dances. And I just thought the idea would be fun. And then the concept of banana nanas, it just worked. So I challenged our team. I said, we need to find a senior dance group in town and see if they want to be a part of this.
I'm Nana Karen. I'm the head banana nana. We had heard that a new baseball team was coming to town and they were interested in a dance group, a line dance group. Well, I've got the girls that can do it because we were already doing it for the resident homes in Savannah. But the age group is over 65 and into the mid-70s. It is just so exciting, and we get our game face on, our dance face on, and we're there to just smile and have a good time. And the crowd is just going crazy.
They became heroes in Savannah, the Banana Nanas. And since that point, they've taken us to the next level for 3 years of crazy dancing and coming up with even more unique routines.
All the time we're posing for pictures with some of the fans that are there. And they're always coming up to me and asking me, can they be a banana nana? And then I get the little girls and they say when they grow up, they want to be a banana nana. So it's just really, it's a great experience.
Hear what Jesse said right at the beginning of the video. Whatever's normal, do the opposite. I think this is a great way of thinking. Now, you don't have to end up with dancing grandmas, but if you start with what's normal and consider what the opposite looks like, hopefully you end up somewhere in the middle, which is far better than an ordinary experience that you might have today. Speaking of today, good luck finding a ticket to the Savannah Bananas, either at home or away. They are sold out absolutely everywhere. There is a 1,000-person waiting list for season tickets. Absolutely remarkable story. Now, 2 things real quickly that Jesse does that I think are brilliant. Number 1, he has a concept called fans first. What it means is, if it's good for the fans, we do it. If it's not good for the fans, we don't do it. We need to apply this to our businesses. What if we asked every question that we're thinking about, if we said, is it good for our attendees or is it not good? If it's not good, let's think of a different way. Let's come up with a better way. Because when we do things that are good for our customers, for our attendees, we also make more money. Because people enjoy our event more. They tell more people about it. They sign up again next year. They're willing to pay more for an elevated experience. The second thing that Jesse believes is that great ideas can come from anywhere. So while a bunch of those 200 micro experiences came from him and his leadership team, a whole bunch came from his summer interns because they came in with new, fresh ideas. And so ask around. Don't feel like you have to be the only person planning your event. Find the funny guy in the office, or find the most creative person you know, and just sit with them for a little while and bounce some ideas. And you'll find that great ideas can come from anywhere. All right, I want to leave you with one last story, and before that, I want to offer you a completely free gift from me to you, which is my top 10 event experience tips for meeting planners. It is totally free, but I'm going to ask you to do one small favor, which is to do a quick little survey for me. I am about customer experience, and so I love customer feedback, and I want to spread this message to as many groups as I can, and you can help me do that by telling me what you think of it, including what your favorite story was that you heard today. Now, I'm going to give you about a minute to do this. If we run out of time, you can always finish it later, but just scan the QR code, go to the website. I so appreciate it. I'm thinking maybe it might be helpful if I give you a little music while you're working.
I've been sitting here all day. I've been sitting in this waiting room. And I've been waiting on my friends. Yes, I'm waiting on this conference call. All alone. And I'm on hold. Well, yes, I'm on hold. I hope it's not all day. Hey! Well, I wonder where they are. Yes, I wonder where my friends have gone. Where'd they go? Tell me, where could they be while I'm waiting on this conference call? I don't know. Well, I'm holding on my phone. Yes, I'm holding on the line. Hey! I don't know where they are. I don't know why I'm still alone. I'm on hold. Oh, yes, I'm on hold. I hope it's not all day. Hey!
All right, we can bring it down. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. I read every single one of the responses, so thank you so much. I want to leave you with one last story today that I also think is extraordinary. Took my son to Fleming's Steakhouse for his birthday because he has pretty expensive tastes. And at the end of dinner, everybody was expecting the traditional slice of cake and a candle and the singing of Happy Birthday. And I got to thinking about this experience because the problem with it is that every restaurant does it. It's a nice experience. I mean, the dessert is free for your birthday, yay! But it doesn't stand out. It doesn't cause people to want to share. It isn't extraordinary. But at Fleming's Steakhouse, they did something different that I thought was extraordinary. They brought out a box of 4 handmade chocolates sitting on a plate with Happy Birthday spelled out in cocoa powder, and, people, a sparkler. Because everyone knows that a sparkler is cooler than a candle. Is a sparkler more expensive? No. Does a sparkler more operationally complex? No. Does a sparkler require more technology? Nope. It's just different and therefore better. Now, you may not be serving slices of cake and candles to your event attendees, but if we look at this as a metaphor, there are plenty of places where you are providing a candle. It's nice. It's a cool gesture. You've done it every year for a long time. And at some point, maybe people come to expect it. And so therefore, it's not going to be shareable. The best example I can think of in your industry is it's a difference between, at breakfast, putting out a plate of donuts and having, have you guys seen the wall of donuts where the donuts are like put onto, it almost looks like it's at a retail establishment and they're on the little hooks? That's cool. People take pictures of the wall of donuts. It's still just donuts. But that's the difference between a candle and a sparkler. So wherever you have candles in your experience, think about where you can elevate it up to a sparkler. It doesn't have to cost more or be more operationally complex or require technology. It just has to be different and therefore better. My name is Dan Gingiss. I'm the Experience Maker. Thank you so much.